I guess we won't start the podcast.
I guess we won't. Fuck the podcast, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Screw that.
Fuck that, honestly. Who wants a podcast?
No one tells me what to do. No one even wanted this podcast in the first place except us.
That's, honestly, that's somewhat fair, but also you don't need to go around telling people that.
No, you're fine. I just remember, it was a couple of months ago, I just remember getting a Twitter DM just going, hey, so you want to start a podcast? And I'm like, sure. And now, like a month after invite, we're finally here.
Yeah.
Even though we already did it one time. Anyway, this episode of Hammered is brought to you by a $1,200 stimulus package that the U.S. government is giving us to still not stay inside.
Essential workers, let's go.
Yes!
Yeah.
God! I love working at a supermarket around this time.
Oh, it's great when none of your customers respect social distancing, so you're just gonna get it no matter what happens.
Or you get the crazy ones that respect social distancing too much, the ones that come in what they think is hazmat gear. So mask, goggles, full like winter coat, and it's only, I don't know, about 55 where I live, so
I had a woman come in wearing 2 scarves.
Double
she had
scarf?
one scarf for her neck and one scarf tied around her face.
What?
Yeah.
She didn't even have a mask. She just had to.
No.
She just went into her coat closet, grabbed a couple scarves.
No, she was 100% double scarf in it.
See, I keep seeing people say, "No, I have like a ski mask. I'll just use that." What?
Like,
no.
It's genius. It's genius because when you're finished social distancing, you can go out and rob someone.
Ooh, that's a good point. But the only people who are able to rob other people are the ones that have balaclavas and stuff like already in their home. Because you can't go out and buy a ski mask, especially not now. There's actually a Sephora right next to the grocery store that I work at that boarded everything up because they had already closed everything down. And one of my older coworkers was like, "Excuse me? Like, did they get robbed or something?" I'm like, "No, they're doing that to make sure that they don't get robbed while the store's not open." Yeah. So every time I walk back in that store, I'm wondering if she's gonna make some dumb comment about the Sephora again. But
and I don't even fucking know. Like there's so much bullshit going on these days that's just it's ridiculous, honestly.
Well, we put it in the tweet, so we might as well kick this off by explaining to the rest of the esports world at large, Chowder, how do you survive COVID-19? What's the best method of doing that?
So the best method of doing that is apparently Kool-Aid packets.
I've heard that. I've had one thing of Alka-Seltzer water, and I don't understand how people think that that's like digestible.
Alka-Seltzer water is terrible. I've been having like Kool-Aid packets and like citrus herbal instant tea.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's like actually fairly decent. Just
I've never been a tea guy, so I guess I can skip out on that part of class.
There's some pretty decent like red zinger with a little bit of honey. That's a really good tea.
Yeah. I mean, I think I drink that every time I have a sore throat, or just something with honey in the back of it just to help soothe whatever the hell happens back here.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the only time I ever worried about it. And the only reason I mentioned that, you had it, and you're not dead yet, which to me is the biggest surprise because you're like 40 years older than me, so I totally expected you to be immunocompromised.
Jacob.
But I'm very pleased that you're still here.
Jacob,
don't get me wrong.
That's because you're still broadcasting from your mother's womb, okay?
Oh. Dang it. She told you that, didn't she?
I mean, it's kind of hard not to. I saw the camera go in. It was really gross.
Stuck it on the end of a pole and go, "Ha!"
We're coming for you live from CaliberJacob's room. Oh, I'm not ready yet.
Somehow he's got 3 guitars. They'll have to come out with him. It's the most painful birth you've ever caught on camera.
They're
That's
not even going to need
illegal.
a C-section. They're going to need, like, I don't know, like an I-section.
It's the most awkward thing you've ever seen because even the doctors don't know what they're doing.
Like, it's like a magician pulling, like, way too many things out of a hat. Like, first comes the baby, and then they're like, "It's a fucking PC? What the hell?" She's sitting there, and she's like,
got 2 monitors?
She's just sitting there looking down, going like, "Wait till you get to the guitars."
No, ma'am, you need to prepare for the guitars, not us. We will be surprised about it. It's kind of like a Deadpool magic satchel kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like whenever you'd watch a Deadpool cartoon and he would always pull just some massive bazooka out of the middle of nowhere. We call it the magic satchel in the film industry. So anytime you see it, it's just like, well, anything can spawn out of whatever bag Deadpool's got.
Oh, yeah.
Just kind of reminded me of that. Anyway, no, I mean, do you technically still have it at this point? Is there a point where you like have to go back? I dropped my pen, and like some doctor then has to say, you know what? Yeah, you're probably clear of it now. Good job.
Basically, just wait 14 days for it to clear out of your system. So I'm on day 7 of 14.
Gotcha. So you haven't needed to spend this entire 14-day period in just pure agony waiting for everything to go blurry or for you to feel better.
No,
because it was only bad for what, like 2-3 days?
I got like sick for 2 days, yeah. Which, I mean, that
to
sounds
me
about
kind of
right.
seemed like you're getting off lightly because
No, I'm 100% I'm getting off lightly. Like that's not even a question. Like it's crazy.
It's good. It's good. I'm very happy I didn't have to go out and search for a new co-host immediately, though I'm pretty sure I could find anybody on Reddit who would be interested in hosting a show that would be replacing the guy who consistently shits on Reddit as often as you do. So, thank you for making sure that I didn't have to
pronounce their names, and we both know you can't do that.
What, Egge?
Eggen,
I think. Or what?
I think that's how it's
what's
pronounced.
His name? No, that's a really good Irish pronunciation. Or what's his name? Smompy MK, I think, is the other one. There's one I remember.
Maybe?
What? Smoothie AK?
Yeah, Smoothie AK. Yeah.
Discount Chala.
There's
Yeah.
Smoothie. There's that guy who's consistently just wrong. Besides,
quintuple hybrid. Yeah, no, quintuple hybrid, I think is his name.
I think so. I don't know.
Yep. And then I swear there's a fourth one. Honestly, Blaz, obviously. The king of Reddit. The king of Reddit is obviously Blaz.
No, the king of Reddit is
understand.
Corey.
Oh, hold on. Blaz and Corey might need to do a 1v1 to determine who's the actual king.
Because the easiest way to tell is because the second you start talking about rips, Corey shows up and goes, rips! That's how you can tell he's the best.
I mean, that's just convincing me that Corey's just a bot. So every time Rips gets mentioned, it's an automated program that just goes, yeah, I put my homie Rips! Like,
I mean, based on their performance, I can't say that he's a bot, but...
I mean, yeah, I don't want to say he's a bot either, but I will say that the only thing holding Rogue back from actually winning stuff is everybody except Aces. God, I want Aces to do good. The entire team is like, cool, and then there's just Aces who pulls out a knock unironically in Pro League and says, yeah, no, I'm having fun with this now.
I mean, if it works, it works.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Anyway.
Hi.
So I did a little bit of digging in terms of what happened in Pro League last week.
Mm-hmm.
And last week in Europe, if nothing else, I didn't look at the NA stats, but in Europe, every single team that won or tied did not win or tie again through 2 consecutive weeks. So there wasn't one team that did like really well. If you won, you either lost the next week or tied the next week. The only thing that stayed consistent in the results from both of the play days for Europe was that BDS lost both weeks.
BDS takes it.
BDS obviously takes it.
BDX takes that W.
BDS has been
L.
taking it.
Whoops.
No, the L.
L.
They've been fighting for that W.
They take that L. Okay.
It's embarrassing. I'm very sad. This meme is becoming far too ironic for all the wrong reasons, and I don't know how to make it stop. I don't know how to make BDS good. And bringing on that Ironix guy, who's actually RX in disguise, definitely didn't help anything.
BDS didn't exactly have the actually BDS. We'll get into that.
Fine.
We'll get into it. You want to get into it now?
We can get into it now.
Okay. So, Monday in Europe.
Monday. G2 wasn't ready.
G2... it was their first game. You know, when we're discussing G2, we have to understand that it's their first game, it's their first, they've been scrimming a lot, but it's their first serious game day performance, and
Right.
it was against the best team in Pro League right now.
Yeah, it's still weird to me to call Rogue the best team in Europe, but if only from a statistical perspective, I can't
From
say
a statistical
otherwise.
perspective, they're the best team in Europe
Yes.
by a long shot. Let's not sit here and
far
beat around the bush.
How the standings are they? Oh yeah, no, that's a 3-point lead on Empire, so I guess that's not wrong.
Yeah, that's a 3-point lead on Empire.
And no losses either. That entire way.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm kind of surprised that's even a thing. 5 wins and
A couple ties.
Well, no, only a couple. Only a couple plus 2. I'm looking at the score and trying to figure out if the math is correct. If Rogue is 5 wins and 4 ties and no losses, and Empire is 5 wins, 1 tie, and 3 losses, and there's still only 3 points between the two of them, that somehow the math doesn't look like it adds up, but I guess it does. No, it does. Never mind. That's 3 more draws for Rogue than it is on Empire, so that does make sense. But that just looked like for a second. Somebody on Wikipedia wasn't editing their pages correctly. How dare they not edit a free resource site properly? Unacceptable. I will never pay for your service, even though I love you.
Unacceptable.
Buy a t-shirt, anyway.
So I think on Monday there are 2 games that stand out that I want to talk about.
For a couple hours from now?
No, for last week.
From last Monday.
From last Monday.
Yeah.
Right? So the first game I want to talk about is Vitality Force.
Other than talking about it being a 7-0 for Force?
Yeah. How?
That was pretty atrocious, yeah.
Force is the last team in the league, and Vitality basically all they had to do was not throw. That's it. That's all Vitality had to do, was just not fuck it up. And
can we just use this as further proof that Affy should be fired from everything?
I don't think so.
No?
No. I don't think Affy should be fired from something. I think Affy should be fired out of something, specifically a cannon into the sun.
I agree with that.
I think
Affy, we know you're watching, by the way.
Hi, Affy. Yeah, I think that's really important to get across that if we do one thing in this podcast, it's get Affy to change his name, go into hiding, witness protection.
Sounds good. He can probably meet up with Tekashi69 somewhere in the middle of
I wouldn't wish that fate on anyone. Are you kidding me?
Hold on, I'm sorry.
Could you imagine like getting to your witness protection apartment and there's some dude with fucking rainbow teeth sitting there going like, "What's up? My name is Yojimbo 420." You're just sitting there like,
"Do you have a laptop? I need to record something."
Yeah, I'm not a rapper. Whoa.
I ratted my friends out to the government. What's your story? What are you in for? Sorry, I got distracted. So I post the podcast onto the subreddit every time like we have an announcement about it. This one now finally has a comment 2 hours after posting it. Maybe would listen if Chowderhead wasn't on it. Chowder, is there anything that you would like to say to you/more_Sedge in terms of your being on this podcast?
Stay mad. Okay.
Oh!
All right. So, Boars just fucking stomped Vitality, right? Like, it wasn't even a question. It was Vitality went into that game. They should have won that.
Yep.
And they didn't. And I don't really know what else to say about that, but I think the BDS Chaos game, I think we can talk a little bit more about that because that was the first game on Theme Park.
Yeah.
In Europe.
First ever Pro League match on Theme Park. Well, I mean, just like in Pro League period, but yeah, in Europe specifically. And to see that get played later in the week on North America side of things. It was the same map being played brand new, introduced into Pro League, will be played differently per region regardless. But to see that not only turn into a route for chaos, but then later to see Shiko on Twitter saying that he hates theme park just makes me wonder whether this was a map Vitality wanted to go to. I don't remember who had the ban order for this match, so that would probably go a long way in helping determine whether this was something. I don't know if it was a BDS pick or a Chaos pick, but I'm assuming it was a Chaos thing if BDS did this bad.
So Chaos banned Cafe, BDS banned Coastline, Chaos banned Clubhouse, BDS banned Villa, Chaos banned Consulate, BDS banned Border, and then...
So BDS had final ban. So BDS could have gone Border or Theme Park. They went Theme Park and got slammed.
They went Theme Park and got slammed. Which is confusing because BDS is pretty good on Border.
BDS is a good Border team, yeah. BDS, I mean, for those who don't remember, BDS qualified through to the playoffs for the Invitational by beating Reciprocity on Border.
Yeah.
So, as far as I'm concerned, that's a map that, you should go to every time if you're in such a solid position on something like that. But I don't know if going to Theme Park was kind of one of those YOLO moments of like, oh, it's a new map, let's just try this out and see if Chaos is prepped for it. And Chaos had very clearly done their homework. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, so Chaos very obviously was like, yeah, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this right. It's gonna be very easy for us. And
it was fast, yeah.
It was very obvious that fucking they hadn't prepared for the sites that Chaos kept picking.
No.
Because they went first to Drug Lab. That was their primary bomb site.
I had called Drug Lab just through watching the games that were on Theme Park over the past week. I had called it the bathroom tellers of Theme Park, in that it's a side option that's not necessarily the most popular. It has
a side option that's
defendable aspect.
Terrible. Nobody goes bathroom tellers unless they're insane.
Team secret or that. Yeah, I was confused about the pick to start there too, because I had to watch the VOD back because I missed the first round, so I thought they had gone throne room, because to see them go back up to second floor for the second round, I 100% figured that they had already won throne, because at least from a ranked perspective, everyone expects throne to be the first side to take, and then you're done. So yeah, it was a weird...
You win throne, you win daycare, and then I don't know, you try going somewhere else.
You maybe take an initiation spot. If that doesn't work out, then by that point it's 2-1 and you're already on attack at that point.
I don't know. I guess we were wrong, which is weird to say.
First time we were ever wrong, guys. Be sure to clip this and put it everywhere. We were wrong about something.
I've never been wrong in my life except for this one thing.
Yeah, I'm a little shocked. I don't really know how to... Should I make a twit longer and say how wrong I was?
Definitely. That's really important. Apologize profusely. But so it's very strange to me to see not just Theme Park played, but what is considered the off-site. Not even the off-site, the site you don't go.
Being the first site played. Being the not just the first site played, but the anchor site. Every time it was open, Chaos picked it.
Yep. And they just fucking...
Did they win it both times, by the way?
I believe so.
Because I think they went to it 2 times. Hold on, SageGG is going to have all the answers.
I believe they won it both times, but that was
shocking, yeah. It was cool, don't get me wrong. I think the nice thing about it is it opened up a realm of other possibilities in terms of what we thought was going to work out for Theme Park in Pro League. And it's just one of those things that only makes sense to the pro players because they're the ones that will take more time to scrim it out. The only times that we will probably ever touch it is if we see it in a ranked queue. So they felt really confident going into it. It wasn't the only theme park game that happened during the course of last week, but it's the one that's most notable because it's the first time playing on it, and one team got absolutely destroyed. So,
oh yeah, and last week I think we discussed, the issue with Chaos is just there. They don't really necessarily do much, but I think this week Chaos really showed up in a big way.
And that wasn't the only positive result that they had either. I mean,
no, they tied Vitality.
They did. So, I mean, I don't know if that's a sign that Chaos dipped a little bit or that Vitality finally managed to get their shit together. But I think...
Well, I mean, you can only bust out Theme Park and absolutely slap someone on it once until they develop strats for it, right?
You're not wrong, yeah.
Do I think BDS is a better team than Chaos? Probably. Do I think that BDS is a better Theme Park team than Chaos? Maybe down the line, but right now, don't take Chaos to Theme Park.
I don't know if this is something that got touched on by maybe somebody who worked like an analyst desk at SI, or maybe someone notable on Twitter, but I remember seeing somewhere the idea that BDS is only doing really good for rounds in which Shiko survives the whole way, and on some level I agree. I don't know if that's always the case, but I feel like in moments when Shiko dies, especially on a round that's like when he dies first, if he is the entry frag, then BDS for some reason will just fall apart as a result of that.
Well, Shiko plays Hibana as an entry fragger / support, right? And that's their primary hard breacher and their entry fragger. So if you kill Shiko, you're not only taking out the best player on the server, you're taking out one of the hard breachers, and you're taking out the entry fragger. So that's like a shit ton just off the board. And then no matter how good your IGL is,
it's a good utility combo to have. But I think, I mean, part of me wonders if the only reason why he's playing Hibana is if it's because it's a good gun that's got a 2x scope on it, as opposed to any other operator that you could play in a situation like that. But it seems weird to throw a whole bunch of responsibility onto one player and have him go for a multitude of different roles. It's nice to see it break up the meta a little bit, don't get me wrong.
It's for anyone who watches CS, it's the simple conundrum.
Yeah.
Right? Which is, simple is, and I'm not saying the same about Shiko. Shiko has years to go before he's this good. But Simple is the best player to ever touch Counter-Strike.
Yeah. I think, at least on the global offensive side of things, I think Simple's by and large the best.
He's like the best. He has the best stats. He has the best kills. He has the least deaths. He's the best, right? It's and one of the things that you have to do when you're fighting Simple's team is you have to very much clearly say, right, we're fighting Simple. We have to fucking kill Simple. And I think that's what you have to do with BDS, right? When you're fighting BDS,
that's close.
You have to have a heavy roam presence to fucking nab Shiko and then immediately fall back.
That is probably a key to success for a lot of teams when they're going into a game facing them, and that's what Rogue is going to have to do in a couple of hours from when this podcast is recorded too.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know if it's having anything to do with it being a hard fall off coming back from the Invitational, but BDS losing both of their games and being the only team to have lost both games since coming back at this half of the Pro League split just doesn't send a positive message to the rest of us about how they're doing, and I don't know how they're doing. All I've seen is they've scored 6 total rounds over 2 matches. So
it's not great.
And one of them, by the way, was against the 8th place, or like the 6th place Na'Vi, or the 8th place Na'Vi, or whatever. So at the time was in 6th place. Now I think is probably like tied for last with Vitality. No, not
they're
with
currently
Vitality.
in 8th.
Yeah, no, they sit in 8th place from a round differential standpoint.
Yep.
There we go. Yeah, but still, BDS very much feels like it's built around Shiko. I think. We talked about it a little bit last week, too. I think it's also built up around Alems a lot, bringing him in, who appears to be their primary IGL. And that's just from us being in the crowd at the Invitational. You can see every time BDS was on stage, whenever they would take a tactical timeout, Alems is the one who's talking, like, vehemently during that tac timeout, more so than any other player there. Like, it almost felt like it's kind of like a not 30-second shouting match, but it's 30 seconds of Alems just going insane on comms, and I'm seeing everyone else just kind of like staring at their monitors or messing with their hand warmers or whatever. So Alems, I think, is probably the second best player on that team, and everyone else trying to build more around the core of those two only works if you can keep Shiko alive, and then Alems can sometimes, grab a clutch and finish the round. But I don't know. That's not an idle observation that I've made about BDS these past couple weeks. So
yeah, I mean, they very much seem like a team built around 2 players, and then they have 3 players who also do things.
Yep.
And that's an okay way to build a team. In pretty much any sport.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess it feels like there are so many other examples of complete teams, like complete in just the sense of everyone has a role. You understand what role they're filling out, and they do it relatively well. But
I mean, we can look at that in something like Rogue.
We can see it with Rogue, yeah.
Yeah.
BDS just has the feeling of, I don't know,
like
I don't want to
lost?
call it empty or hollow, right? But it would take me a lot longer to name like all 5. If I was brand new to Siege, it would take me a lot longer to name all 5 players on BDS than it would for a team like Rogue. When Rogue goes out, does everything that they need to do, I could name probably those 2 main players on BDS, and then the other ones I'd go, well, I don't know what they do, but I just know that they're there. You know? It's weird. It's weird. I want to see them find a way to dig themselves out of the hole that they've created for themselves, because 3 wins through 9 games isn't great, and they don't have to worry about relegations again later, but we all knew that there was something weird and tumultuous going on behind the scenes when they opted to drop Panics. So I don't know what mindset that team is in, but they need to get their heads out of their butts and try to do a hard reset, because something clearly isn't working at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
So that's just BDS, though.
And then on the opposite end of BDS, of one person carrying a team, we have G2's second game against their division rivals, Empire.
Incredible game.
Which
the first, I think, true Call of Duty World League game we've ever seen in Siege.
Hey, they got like 3 plants down.
Well, they did.
And then they gunned everyone. Well, 2 of the times they got like the plant down, and then 5 seconds later, everyone else on the server was dead.
It happened so quick.
I think there was only like 1 time when there was actually a chance for Empire to defuse.
I think so.
Yeah, and even then they just didn't make it.
What was the tweet from Fabian after the game? Guys, what happened to this no plants, no bullshit thing? Just frags. Like,
yeah,
there were 3 plants.
There were 3
plants. Nice job, yeah. G2. You ruined the meme. Can you imagine if that match was the one that had started this half of the split? The first time that G2 goes out with this new roster.
I think
to be a 7-0 against Empire on Coastline, to be as dominant as that is, can you imagine the reaction from everybody? Dude, everyone would have been touting the whole G2's back thing so much quicker than they did. Granted, everyone is kind of saying, oh my god, G2 looks scary as balls right now. They're doing it now, but if that had happened in the first week game against Rogue, oh my word, that would have been insane.
Oh, yeah. It would have set like a hell of a tone. But the first week game against Rogue, it was still a good game. It still went on like way too fucking long. It was still a 7-5. It was very close, but to 7-5, the best team in the league, that's impressive. But then to come back to your division rivals, Empire, and 7-0 them, G2 empired Empire.
They're getting it figured out. Slowly but surely, G2 is getting it figured out.
Empire's map, right?
Yep. Yep. By and large, I'd say so.
Maybe not for a bit, but They went the distance at SI 2019 on this map.
Yep.
22 rounds. I went out in the hallway and just like sat down on a beanbag chair for like 5 of those rounds because that was just way too much siege. I was just like,
Chowder,
I'm
there is
done.
no such thing. You need to not speak these blasphemous terms. Too much siege
rounds,
is not a thing.
22 rounds, alternating wins on coastline. That's too much siege. That's
Come on.
Jesus Christ.
That's, I don't know. If that's 22, that's almost enough for 2 full matches. So that was kind of like you were watching 2 games of a best of 3
That's
that only turned into
3
one
full
map.
matches.
3 full if it were to go to, yeah. If it was 7-0s the whole way through, that's 3 games on coastline.
That was a lot of siege. But so,
that map for Empire and G2 has been alternating a little bit. We had the 22 round game, but then Empire won that as the last map of the Raleigh Major Grand Final, I believe, and then we had this one. So that's never really been. But it seemed like it's G2's map these past couple of times, and especially now after a 7-0 win, you would think G2 definitely has Empire's number on this, and they've beat them more times on this map, so advantage goes to G2.
If we think about it, though, the only consistent thing between all 3 of those is the main roster of Empire, right? The only difference between 2019 Invitational and Raleigh Major was dropping Karzeka and picking up Dan.
Shockwave, not Karzeka.
Shockwave. Yeah. Right? And G2 has seen fucking ridiculous changes. Right? So G2 won that major with the lineup. Kanto, Pengu, Junis.
New player to G2 confirmed, Pengu?
Kanto, You say Kanto, Pengu. All right? It's fucking hard.
Kanto, Pengu.
Fuck you.
Kanto, Pengu.
Kanto, Junis.
Kanto, Pengu.
Pengu.
Shunis?
Junis.
You're having so much trouble right now, it's funny.
Oh, fuck off. Kanto. Pengu.
Yep.
Junis.
Yeah.
Fabian.
Yeah.
Goga.
Good boy.
Right? The classic. And then at the Raleigh Major, it was... What was it? It was Kanto, Pengu...
Only difference was it wasn't Jonas, it was Uno.
It was Uno instead of Jonas, right?
Yeah.
And then... Six Invitational 2020, they had Cryan instead of Goga.
Well, they didn't have Cryan. At that point, he was already off the team. That was Sir Boss.
That was Sir Boss, right.
Was filling in for Cryan, who was taking over for Goga's spot, yeah.
Right. And then that got finished, and then this is just a new G2 roster that's reformed around the idea that the Siege meta is just running in and gunning people down.
Yeah.
Which, based on fucking the games...
It doesn't happen very often, which is the interesting part. I think the run gun meta works occasionally, but if you're forging an entire team around that ideology, it's not something we see every day. So we're still kind of like sitting in the wings waiting to see more of that happen.
If you're forging a team with the ideology that this team wins gunfights, and the meta right now is the gunfights happen within the last 20-30 seconds of a round.
Yep, after you do all your utility clear, then you can start shooting people.
It's not a bad strategy.
They're kind of banking on Ubisoft not taking Parker's idea, which is to like nix 1 to 2 gadgets from every operator and just
that's a
tone
good
down
idea.
how much counter utility there is, yeah.
If Defenders had less utility, we wouldn't be seeing this meta, but this meta is here. I don't see it changing because there would need to be a lot of balance testing, and you can't do a lot of balance testing from your house.
I mean, not really.
So it's just we're all kind of stuck.
Yeah. So, as a general overview from the matches that we had from last week, Empire 7-5 Na'Vi, Rogue 7-5 G2, Vitality 0-7-4s, BDS 2-7 to Chaos, and then on play to number 9, 4s tied Rogue, Chaos tied Vitality, G2 with the 7-0 over Empire, and then BDS 4-7 to Na'Vi. So that's Europe from last week. Any other point you want to make about this one, or do you want to go to a different one?
Let's go to NA.
NA for last week.
NA was interesting.
Expected, honestly. I don't think there was a single map from North America for last week that didn't go the way I thought it was going to. I think maybe with the exception of Dark Zero's performance.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about, was the Dark Zero versus the E United, that game.
Yeah. So, for context, Dark Zero versus TSM for play to number 8 went like exactly how we thought it was going to go. Dark Zero lost because TSM is just that much better.
TSM's just better.
But then E United, the next play day, pulls out a tie, which I remember watching
that should
this.
not have been a fucking tie.
This was a cafe game. Both teams won 4 defenses and won 2 attacks. So that's kind of a textbook game on cafe, just in terms of it being a defender-centered game professionally.
But literally everything else was just absolutely not textbook in the fucking slightest. Because E United threw 3 rounds.
Yeah. They almost threw a 4th.
That game should have been a 7-3. Done. Easy. Peasy. Whatever. But E United they're a great team. Right? I really think they could be doing a lot better than they can.
Oh, yeah.
They fucking shit the bed. Like, hard. And I love the guys on E United. You know, but they could have beat Dark Zero. And that says a lot about Dark Zero. When you're supposed to be the fucking the Gigabrain Chads, you're the team that outstrats everyone else, and you get fucking just by TSM, and then you just get sucker punched by E United. You know, I don't know if they haven't adapted to this meta or what's going on, but Dark Zero needs to get their fucking heads out of their asses and figure out what they're doing wrong, or else they're gonna lose to someone like Tempo Storm.
To be fair, when they played TSM the first time, which was the last play day on the first half of the split, so the last Pro League game that they played before heading to Invite, they got beat worse than they did by TSM last week. It was 2-7 TSM before Invite, and then it was 4-7 on the opposite side.
But TSM just changed coaches.
Correct. Well, I think they've had Data for a while.
Data was consulting. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But it wasn't... He was still doing stuff for them, so I don't know if that was a smooth transition into that role for him on TSM, to the point that they, like, the guys on TSM didn't have to completely deal with someone like brand new, and they were still working off of a similar playbook the whole time.
Yeah.
But whatever the case may be, TSM just continuing to prove that they're the best just means that everybody else that they play against will need to meet with them just being the brick wall that they are. So
TSM, and then, as I said last week, TSM's the best because they just do it. It just it gets done.
And they don't let one death for some reason in the middle of a site execute stop them from just getting someone else to rotate back inside, fix the problem, and then win the round. That's just how they've always done it.
TSM has 8 wins and a draw.
Yep.
And
not a loss to their name yet. Says a lot about how that team is doing.
Yep.
And there's nothing else to talk about from a bad perspective other than their one draw. And that was against Luminosity, by the way, who they beat last week. So if they just continue on the warpath they've been on, they've already beaten every team in Pro League at this point, so I don't see a reason for them to not go in. And they could finish this as 13 wins, 1 draw, no problem. That's a legitimate future for TSM for this season.
I mean,
I don't know if we've ever had one happen like that.
Season 9 Empire.
Is that? Because I'm trying to think of a time when someone went with almost all 14 wins. I don't know if that's ever happened before. Even Na'Vi last season went 10 wins and 4 losses. They didn't even have a draw. Let me boot up Season 9 here.
Empire went 10-2-2.
10-2-2. Very... man, who did they even lose to this season? Or no, that season in Season 9. This is back when Secret and Penta were all in there, and the Mocket roster was in there as well. So this was a very different looking Europe, and this is only a year ago. So the season they go 10-2-2. They have 1 tie to G2. Did they seriously not lose a game until the back half of the season? Yeah.
Yeah.
They lose 1 game to Penta. They tie G2 both times that they play. They lose 1 to not Mouse Sports, Lestream. So the team that is now currently...
it was G2 in Season 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, so G2 Season 8 went... What was it? It was 11-2-1.
Is that the best record any team has ever had? Wait, hold on. Didn't FaZe? I swear there was a Latin American result from a season or 2 ago, and FaZe had a really darn good record.
FaZe went 10-2-2.
FaZe went 10-0-4 in Season 9.
Mm-hmm.
I'll keep clicking through this to see if I can find a better one. Nip went 10-3-1 for Season 10. My point is, I don't know if we've ever had a team go 13 wins in a PL season. Because we've seen 10s, we've seen 12s, we might have seen an 11, but there's a very real chance that we could see 13. If TSM doesn't drop or tie another map through the rest of this Pro League season, then this could be the best team we've ever seen in Pro League ever.
Yeah, that's...
Which, there's not a Pro League Finals this season for obvious reasons, but that is already an accomplishment worthy of a ridiculous amount of congratulations.
Oh, yeah.
So, this might be the caster's curse because I've just talked about this and now I've eternally jinxed them, but hey, this is a possibility.
I mean, if TSM want to make this season perfect, that's on them. There's really only 2 obstacles left, which are... Actually, there's only 1 obstacle left. It's Space Station. Other than that, TSM has this.
How big was the difference on TSM last time they played Space Station? 7-4. And SSG, I'll still argue, hasn't really figured out the online best-of-1 format that well. Yeah. Even though they've won their first 2 games on this half of the split, that's still me being a little bit wary of how they'll do, because they had to do 12 rounds against Luminosity and Tempo Storm of all teams to make it all the way to those 2 victories. So yeah. I think I was actually watching that SSG Tempo Storm game last week in a Discord call with some people, and I just remember we were looking back at the score every time going, oh my god, Tempo might actually beat Space Station right now, so hold on to your butts.
Yeah, but it wasn't great.
No, I was worried about it definitely slipping the wrong way. Okay. I think here's the thing that I know will probably get a lot of discussion, and there was a fair amount of arguing about this on Twitter the night that it happened. So the second time that we ever see Theme Park was in North America on Play to 9, so on the Wednesday play day. It was Evil Geniuses and Team Reciprocity. Now, it wasn't necessarily drama-filled because it was played on Theme Park. I think that's just everyone trying to acclimate to what a new map is like. But one round in particular turns into, I believe it was a young and vertical 1v1 that is traded. One person kills the other in perfect sync, and Rec is on defense, but Evil Geniuses gets the win for the trade, and everyone was kind of in a firestorm about how the heck EG wins that trade out when the majority of people, after Ubisoft had made some slight changes to how trades work, it doesn't happen in casual anymore, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It usually will always result in the team that is on defense would get the win because the attacker's objective is to get the diffuser down. Now, something that Stokes brought up on Twitter in the middle of all of this, which kind of made sense, was that if it mattered a lot if you had the diffuser versus if you didn't have the diffuser, like, on you, because it wasn't planted. There was, you know, the Hibana, who I believe was young, was going in for this last kill. He's the one on attack with diffuser. It hasn't gone down, and he's rushing in trying to get this last kill before the timer runs out. And Vert is either trying to go for that frag himself or stick back so he can just kind of let the timer go down. But I don't know if he knew in that moment that the diffuser wasn't being planted, so he kind of had to go back into the room, which I believe was upstairs in bunk, to check and see if it was being planted or not. So both kills happen at the exact same time. Part of me is always like the first kill that shows up in the kill feed, even though they both happen simultaneously, the first one that shows up in the kill feed sometimes for me has always seemed like the one that wins the trade war.
Yeah,
but
I don't know, it's funky. I'm looking at the ESL website right now, and there's no score inputted for it, so I think it's still
on
under
ESL's
review.
Website?
Yeah.
Has ESL ever taken this long to, like, officially comment on the status of a round? Because
maybe
Liquipedia's got it in based on what the result was, but they haven't on what the final score was from the game proper, like from the stream.
Yeah, 6-6, yeah.
And no one said anything about it, so my assumption was ESL just kind of took that as, okay, well, the game says it's a win, so therefore, by game rules, you shouldn't be complaining about it because we told everybody we were making changes to how trades worked. So
I don't know. There's funky shit going on with that. We'll see if that sorts itself out next week, but right now that match is totally 1,000% up in the air.
Who do you think deserves it? Because if Rec wins that, Rec wins the entire game. It turned into a 6-6 draw. Rec wins the game 7-5.
I mean,
if it stands as EG gets it, then EG will
if
continue
no one's
with the draw
alive
at
and the
6-6.
diffuser isn't down, that's a defense win. That's
I'm of the
how
same
I see
opinion.
it.
Yeah.
If no one's alive and the diffuser's down, there's no one to defuse it, that's an attack win.
Yeah. Because the diffuser has been, like, the attacker's objective has been completed. Like, the attacker team has a job. The defending team job is to just, like, do nothing until the diffuser goes down and then go for the counter diffuse, because then at that point it becomes imperative that you fix the problem. If the attackers do one thing, then defense has to swarm back in. You can obviously they have a job to do to defend the bomb site, get the kills that they need, blah blah blah. But for all intents and purposes, from my angle, that looks like a reciprocity victory. I will stand by that, and that's how I think it ought to be done. But
I agree. You know, I can't say you're wrong.
I just don't know how this happened, or
how. I don't know, man.
It doesn't even seem like. I guess I'm trying to figure out if this was something Ubisoft made a change to relatively recently that was something that kind of got swept under the rug, for it to be something that a whole bunch of players from really everywhere within the North American sphere were all talking about after the game happened at the exact same time, going, yes, I agree with the way the game handled it, or no, I think it's BS. Because at the end of the day, the result that's been plugged into Liquipedia that now means that EG and Rec tied the game is the one that the game client itself came up with, and if there's anything that the game is good for, it's at least displaying what the score is and making sure that it has its own timing correct.
Yeah.
Even if it's got a multitude of bugs, you know, to be associated with different parts of the game itself, like, that is a very fundamental part of the game process that hasn't even been tampered with nearly as much as other components of the game have. So I mean, it looks like a whole bunch of grown men just yelling at a computer program, but at the end of the day, that's all we do anyway. So
yeah, fair. That's valid. Yeah. Honestly, it just seems like a no-win scenario.
Yeah.
You know, it really seems like everything's just fucked.
I wonder if there's a way, I mean, because this happens through, like, official, like,
yeah, there's a process.
Yeah, and the same method that you can use to contest a round one or a game lost in a Go 4 tournament is the exact same way that you would contest something happening within Pro League because it runs through the same system. So I'm a little curious if anybody from if anybody from Reciprocity is curious about whether, like, confirming if they've filed an official protest on that round or not, or if they've just kind of looked at. I wonder if they have.
Yeah.
But then it comes back to, will it do anything, because ESL can just look at the rule book and be like, no.
Yeah. I mean, it is down to ESL.
Yeah.
Okay. And on that hopeless note, let's talk about some more hopelessness.
The fact that I will never have a girlfriend.
No, Jacob, we're not talking about the inevitability of hopelessness. We're talking about actual hopelessness.
Oh, shoot.
We're talking about predictions for this week.
Oh, predictions for this week. Okay. I think I've looked at these
because
maybe twice.
There's some hopelessness here.
Okay. Predictions for this week.
Specifically the first match.
Are we talking Europe or North America?
We're going to start with Europe.
Okay, first match, G2 Chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah, if G2 can 7-0 Empire on Coastline, G2 can 7-0 Chaos.
Just make sure to ban Theme Park first and basically just beating Chaos.
Because right now Chaos has a 100% win rate on a map. Even though we can say that only through the first 2 play days of that being a thing, we can still say it. It's 100% win rate.
It's still true.
Yep.
Don't take Chaos to Theme Park. Do not take Chaos to Theme Park. Don't.
It's like taking SSG to Clubhouse. Don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Okay. Empire versus Fours.
Okay. Empire played Fours in, I believe it was the Russian Major League
a couple of days ago. Yeah.
That was a Fours win, and Empire just got 7-0'd by G2. So I think we're looking at an Empire that's still kind of without identity.
Empire's a little floppy. Yeah.
But I also don't know if I'm really that confident in Forza's play, even though that's a 7-0 on a Vitality team that wasn't that great either. So I am comfortable calling this a draw.
A draw or a Forza win for me as well. I think leaning closer to Forza win.
That's fair.
All right, Vitality Na'Vi. I'm gonna give it to Na'Vi because I think we're still witnessing Panix's revenge tour.
I think so.
I think
that will probably continue through the rest of this season as well. So don't think that stops at this game either.
I think the addition of Panix is a really strong pickup for Na'Vi, and I think that he's going to lead them to victory in a lot of matches that might have seemed hopeless before. Yeah, like this Na'Vi Vitality match. I don't think this was hopeless. I think it was pretty even, but I think Panix puts them over the edge.
Okay. And I think it's a Monday, so I think Vitality loses this one outright because Askey's still on the roster and it's a Monday, so Na'Vi wins.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Rogue BDS. I mean, that's the easiest fucking prediction in the world.
Rogue. Easy.
All right.
Cool.
Wednesday. Chaos versus Fours.
Predictions. Oh boy. See, this is an interesting one to call because I would love to know what both Chaos and Fours do in their games today on Monday before calling the ones for Wednesday.
Oh yeah.
But if we're doing the way too early prediction, which is the ones that are 2 days away after one more play day already. I mean,
if there's anything we can do on the internet, it's say things with absolute certainty that we know nothing about. With the current information. Well, so I'm going to give this one to Chaos. How do you think
I've had any career on YouTube? It's been doing that exact thing. I'll go Chaos as well, because why not? I mean, Fours somehow lets them take Theme Park. All of a sudden, we're back at where we were with BDS.
Sure,
so.
Absolutely, 100%.
There we go.
Empire BDS, Empire. Easy.
Empire.
Not even a question.
Yep. Nope.
Empire on a bad day is better than BDS on a good day.
I wholeheartedly believe that.
G2 versus Vitality.
G2.
Fucking G2.
Vitality need to wake up. If the fact that the only positive thing that they've had on this half of the split is a 6-6 against a team like Chaos, then they're in real deep water against a team like G2 that will do nothing but slam everybody in their path, unless it's Rogue.
Oh yeah.
But Rogue is to be expected.
Yeah.
So, and just speaking of Rogue versus Na'Vi.
Rogue.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. North America, E United versus Tempo Storm. I think this is interesting because if I remember correctly,
This is actually not a terrible match.
if I remember correctly, I
I'm
believe
inclined to lean E United just based off previous record, but E United only has one more win than Tempo Storm does and one more draw.
but E United beat Tempo Storm 7-4 last time.
Oh, in the previous play day?
Yeah, and that wasn't with Alfama.
Good point. Okay, but see, I don't know if I want to wait for this entire season to be over and done with before I say whether E United was better with Reed than Alfama. Like, if only from a pure record, like wins, ties, losses standpoint,
Sure.
I want the whole season to be over and done with before I'm like, okay, wasn't worth it to have Alfama in the entire time and not continue to work with Reed, or was Reed just better? Because right now, the only two wins that E United has are off the backs of the only two wins that E United had were when Reed was on the team. But
I mean,
we still
that's
have
fair.
5 more play days to go.
So
So
we still have 5 more plays to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they also played 2 of the best teams.
they did. And did they? Yeah, no, Rec was a 7-2, and Rec is still a very good
Rec
team.
and DZ,
then
yeah.
DZ, yeah. Okay. I'm cool sticking with the U.
So E United Tempo, Dark Zero, SSG. I want to give it to SSG, but I think
Ooh,
I think Dark Zero is going to take it.
That's going to be a really good game.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think E United beating or tying on Cafe with Dark Zero was a bit of a fluke. So I'm still inclined to believe that Dark Zero is just a better team online, unless it's against TSM, and them having draws isn't the most uncommon thing in the world. So I will.
Hold on one second.
I'll
take
stick
this
with
phone
DZ,
call.
but you do fine. I'll carry the podcast.
It's work. I gotta take it.
Fine. Anyway, so this is what happens when Chowder is no longer able to be my dad on the podcast. I now have to sit here and try to carry it as much as possible by myself. Anyway, I can keep on running through these predictions, at least for the rest of North America, and then he can come back and he can give his predictions on how he thinks it's going to go. Evil Geniuses versus Luminosity is another game happening today, the day that the podcast goes up. I'm inclined to lean in the direction of Luminosity just because I don't know where Evil Geniuses sits. By the way, Evil Geniuses has tied both of the games that they've played through this half of the split. They tied Tempo Storm on Monday, and they tied Reciprocity through what we just talked about, being helped along with that trade that I still think should have gone in Reciprocity's wake. So in this case, I'm leaning towards probably more so Luminosity. Even though Luminosity has lost both and Evil Geniuses has tied twice, both EG and Luminosity are tied at 6 points apiece, tied for effectively 6th place in North America. So, you know what? No, I'm switching that. I think Evil Geniuses they still have an opportunity to turn things around. Luminosity is a team I want to believe can do really well because there's top tier talent, and now they have a guy like Jarvis who you're kind of hoping you can just glue everything around, but EG just it's literally picking between the worst of two evils, and Evil Geniuses has 2 ties, whereas through 2 playdays Luminosity has 2 losses. So I'm inclined to think Evil Geniuses, or I'm cool with seeing a 3rd draw for EG and have them go to their 4th draw on the season, which would be the most of any team in North America. But I'm leaning a little bit more towards EG, if only for that reasoning. And then the final game of tonight is Reciprocity, or technically X-Reciprocity against TSM. We can bring this kid back. Just talked about Evil Geniuses versus LG.
Oh, you mean the slot fight?
The one that's literally both teams tied for 6th place. Who do you think? I just gave my idea about why.
It's
I
2
think
kids
wins.
wrestling in the shit pit, and I think the team that actually exists, instead of being the retirement home, is going to win. Luminosity takes it.
To be fair, there might be a chance that neither one of these teams exists in a month.
That's valid.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't like this.
Nobody likes it.
No. Okay. I gave my reasoning for that. I was just about to talk about Rec TSM. Who do you think?
But you know who I fucking think. Come on, just say it.
Reciprocity, obviously. I'm going to be rooting for TSM, if only because I want to see them make it all the way to that 13-win marker. I love my boy Foxeo, but I do want to see TSM set the record for most wins in a Pro League season. They definitely have the chance to do that.
I think I think TSM has a great chance to do that. And I think they have a great chance to do that by 7-2ing Reciprocity.
7-2.
7-2.
We don't even know what map it is, and you're calling a 7-2?
Don't give a shit.
Cafe Attack.
7-2.
All right, that's a clip. That's worthwhile. Did you actually call one for Evil Genius's LG, by the way, or are you just like,
no, that's going to be 6-6 or like 7-5 or something.
I was using the logic that Evil Geniuses has 2 ties through their first 2 days, and Luminosity has 2 losses, so
yeah.
I'm leaning more towards EG just for that reason, but...
That's valid, yeah.
Okay. Last play day, April Fool's Day. SSG and E United to kick things off.
SSG.
I'm going to say Draw Station Gaming is back on this one.
Really?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. I think that's a possibility.
That's me calling a little bit of an upset. And I love the dudes on SSG, don't get me wrong, but I think E United, if they can have a really, really good game against Tempo tonight, then they can probably have a great game against SSG, because SSG is going to be coming off of a Dark Zero kind of a beatdown, that then they have 2 more days to like switch gears and then focus on E United. So right. EU is going to be in a much better mental state, because they will probably go up against a Tempo Storm team tonight that just doesn't have a chance in Pro League regardless of what your name is.
Yeah.
So...
I mean, that's easy enough, yeah.
There's a good chance for the 2 of them to kind of even out, and it can turn into a draw. Otherwise, I think it's an SSG win.
Yeah.
So.
All right. EG Dark Zero. I'd say a year ago, this would have been a very good match.
A year ago... Yeah, no, legit. Back when it was... God, both these lineups for both, like... Both of these teams had 2 different players a whole year ago. What was it? Canadian and Geo on Evil Geniuses, and Jarvis and Nyx were still on Dark Zero back at that time. So this was a very, very different game right around Milan time. Oh boy. Nah, these days I'm inclined to still say DZ.
Yeah, easy. Rec Luminosity, I'm giving that to fucking Rec.
That's going to Rec, yep. And then TSM Tempo Storm is... I'm trying to come up with a really good burn or a really good pun right now, but it's escaping me. Can you help me out? What's this one like? TSM versus the team that is in last place.
It's like TSM versus Tempo Storm.
That's it? That's all you got?
Fine, it's like
Thank you, Mr. Literal.
It's like the Shiroyama Rebellion. Did you want to hear that?
What the hell is that? How many people died?
Like a lot.
Okay. I didn't know what that was. That's an analogy would be great if I knew anything about.
Sure, okay. So there existed, during the modernization period of Japan, there was a faction led by a shogun named Shiroyama, who believed that the ways of the samurai were good and the ways of the West were bad. And so basically what happened was he led a samurai rebellion against the modernized Japanese army who had, like, guns. Like, not like flintlock rifles, which the samurai had, but, like, repeating carbines and, like, crank machine guns and, like...
And this was back how long ago? Because if you say carbines up against flint rifles, that gives me a much better interpretation of kind of when it was, and also the fact that it was an absolute
Satsuma
massacre.
Rebellion between the samurai and the Japanese army was 1877.
Got it. Yeah, that sounds like a massacre.
Saigo Takamori made their last stand against the Imperial Japanese troops.
Welcome back to history class with the Chowder head.
Every single samurai, all 500 samurai died.
Nice.
And that was considered the day the samurai died. So...
Why did Tempo Storm pick this team up?
because they thought they might be like, I don't
want to be that guy, but there's a super tweet that I can call back to right around now that says that this team shouldn't even be in Pro League. I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm just saying that the tweet exists or existed if super is true to form.
Yeah, I mean, it is super, and so I think that should temper what happens with that information a little bit, but
yeah,
I don't think tempo is like super bad. I just think that, I don't know.
I'm looking through, let me check through the teams that made it to North America for Challenger League these past couple seasons about where they're at. Because North America, in terms of getting promotions up from CL, has been up and down. Like, the Sonics have been in and out over the course of 2 seasons already. But they're still considered like one of the better teams, and they're not even in CL this season, so it's like...
Sisu did that.
Sisu did do that, but if we look at teams that have come up from Challenger League, period, just from those 2 regions, we've had Empire win and Na'Vi win both in their rookie seasons, and we've just had teams that have made it into like the bottom half of North American Pro League kind of struggle to stay there. Because it's been like the same maybe 4 or 5 teams that have been doing well in North America for these past couple of seasons, and for it now to turn into a scrap fest for those bottom 3 through, I don't know, maybe even through like season 9, because it was Tempo Storm and E United this season. Let me check for season 10.
I mean, there's this. It's pretty shitty to be too bad for Pro League, but too good for Challenger League.
I mean, yeah, that's a weird spot for Sonics to be in for sure. Or, I mean, previous Sonics teams, obviously it looks a lot different. Easily is on the team. We have 2 European imports, blah, blah, blah. But that is a weird spot for them to be in. I was talking about Tempo. Oh, for... You think Tempo Storm is...
I think Tempo and EG are too shitty for Pro League, but too good for Challenger League. Actually, I don't know.
I'd be inclined to agree with you. I've only casted 1 play day so far of North American Challenger League, so I couldn't really tell you. I would want to see more about how those teams shape up before I say if they were good enough to beat Tempo Storm. Actually, you know what? They probably could do pretty good against a Tempo team. I don't know if they would do good against an Evil Geniuses team. I think that kind of longevity and the skill born through just playing this game from its inception is probably too good for the EG guys to really fall that hard that they couldn't beat some of the best that North American Challenger League has to offer this season, but that's just me.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I think it's...
Jeez, man. I just don't know when we step things up in terms of the teams that we promote. Anyway, so that's predictions. Is that it?
I think that's it.
I think that's it. Was Attack of the Clones better than the Phantom Menace? You be the judge. You decide.
Objectively.
You decide.
I don't want to get into this, but Phantom Menace, like, if we're going like strictly by machete order, which is the preferred way to watch the movies.
Yeah.
You know machete order?
The term is familiar. I know I should know it because I'm in the industry.
So it's Robert Rodriguez put out a series of films called Machete.
Okay.
The Machete films, and it basically went like movie starting in the middle, and then afterwards prequel, and then sequel to the first movie.
So one, or like in release order 2, 3, 1 kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay.
No, 2, 1, 3.
2, 1, 2. First movie comes out, prequel to the first movie, then sequel to the first movie.
Prequel to the first movie, and then sequel, right?
Oh, not sequel, then prequel, then... Oh, okay, got it.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you think about it that way, the best way to watch Star Wars movies is 4, 5, 2, 3, 6.
Where's
you can
1?
Completely skip 1.
What? Bruh. That movie came out the year I was born. Feel old yet?
Thank you for watching the Hammered Podcast, where we talk about CG sports. I feel old.
My whole job is just to make Chowder regret wanting to do a podcast with me. Anyway, we'll be back next time. And by next time, I mean next Monday.
Yep.
But next Monday, we might have a guest. And that'll
Next
make
Monday, we will have a guest, yeah.
That'll make things way more interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know what it's going to be yet.
It might be, like, just a sock puppet that I have a separate webcam for. Who knows?
We can do that. Yeah. No, there will be a guest. There will be a third webcam on the screen.
You will see more than one person. Very exciting
Sock puppets
news.
are people. Sock puppets are indeed people, confirmed.
Sock puppets are people. All right.
Thanks for watching. We'll be back next Monday. Thanks for tuning in. Love your faces. Bye.
Love y'all.
Are we out? Did you stop? You didn't stop, did you?
Yeah, we're good.